What's the most valuable resource on the internet that companies can't access? It's not cryptocurrency, it's not computing power, it's data trapped behind websites with no APIs. It used to be really hard to extract that data, but now with AI, it's completely changing the game. With just this one simple prompt, I'm able to extract data from hundreds of Amazon keyboards. Today, I'm sitting down with the founder of ScrapeGraphAI, an innovative approach to web scraping. We will demo 3 use cases. First, price monitoring for e-commerce. Second, a competitive analysis on YouTube to find winning titles. And third, scraping of news articles. I'm here with the founder, Marco Vinciguerra. He's a developer in his mid-20s from Italy, I think located close to Milan. And he's doing
Yeah,
his master degree right now in data science and data engineering. And he's one of the main contributors to ScrapeGraph AI. Good to have web scraping expert here on board. Welcome, Marco. How are you doing?
hi Tobias. How are you? I'm good.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Thank you. I would be really interested in what led to ScrapeGraph AI. Why did you develop this? And what pain points do you see with traditional scraping?
It's a long story, and everything started 2 years ago when I was in Erasmus in Latvia, and I had to do a homework about web scraping. And what I've learned from that homework was that I was not able to understand anything about HTML, and I took a bad grade. So from that moment, I decided to specialize in scraping. And what I've learned it was like that people used to coding basically with ChatGPT all the time because it was the period where ChatGPT was just released and people were overusing that. What I've understood was like, why not scraping with AI? And from that moment, I started to develop an open source library, and the rest is history, basically. What I've seen from my point of view was like, okay, people use traditional methods, and if the website changes even a little, your code will be broken. Instead, if you use AI for extracting data, your script will always work. So this is the main reason of why I decided to make this library. And after that, I decided to make API on top of it.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, absolutely. I know how this traditional scraping works. For example, with Beautiful Soup, inspecting the HTML and select the data you want to extract, which already takes a lot of time. And then, like you said, when something changes, you need to go over the code, fix it, and so on. So in this case, you build ScrapeGraph AI and you combine this with LLMs. So what would be really interesting to know is what are the most scraped websites and use cases.
Usually people use ScrapeGraph for extracting data from social networks and e-commerce. These are the most used cases. But sometimes they use also for extracting information from news websites. For example, Wired, and we will see later an example. Sometimes people use this for strange use cases. For example, extracting data from Korean websites for creating a dataset about video games.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, I think it's even better now with AI because you can use that data to fine tune a model. For example, like you said, you could fine tune
Yeah.
a model on Korean movies, or you could just scrape video titles, for example, or titles that worked really well on YouTube and other platforms, and then analyze the titles and find a way to improve your titles on your own videos, for example, based on real world data and not just something, I don't know, ChatGPT was trained on, because it's changing all the time, right? As I see, ScrapeGraph AI is also available as open source, right? You have done for you version, which is really easy to use, which you will go over in a few minutes. But do you have also, it's also an open source software basically, so a developer could just fork it or download it and build his own scraper. Yeah.
We started as open source library just because I want to extract data from the internet, and I was just having fun with my friends. And on top of that, I created a company that provides a API for extracting the data in a faster and better way than the libraries.
What's the team size right now? I mean, how many people are working on this project?
Team is composed by Lorenzo Paduan, that is the CEO, Marco Perini, that is the CTO, and I am the co-CTO software engineer too. So we are basically the three founders.
Okay, really cool. I talk with a lot of business owners that are not like super technical. You know, sometimes they come up with really crazy ideas, build this kind of a SaaS product for me. A lot of people, they are underestimating really the effort and the work that goes into building something like that, like a product like that. Although you have ChatGPT and now you have like Claude 3.7 and so on. What's like your take on this? Like how much work is really behind such a product to get this to this level where you can actually monetize it?
Yeah, at the beginning when I first created the library, I was just doing that for all the day, and I faked to study to my parents. But now is my work, so it's a full-time work basically. It requires a lot of effort, both for the library and both for the SaaS project, because I had to study how to do that. Now I have to implement new features, and it requires a lot of time, basically all the day.
Now I would say it's time to just take a look, right, and see how it works. So if you can share your screen and just give us a quick demo, would be really cool.
Can go here, and we have like it seems like a no code in platform. What right now is this is the home page of our dashboard, and you have like a code mode, and this is the playground. If I want to scrape this page and extract all the keyboard names, I can write here the link and extract all the keyboards names and prices, and I can run the code.
So you can
As you can see,
basically
it's loading.
just use natural language. You just tell the AI what you want to extract, and then it does
Yeah.
it for you.
And if a developer wants to use the APIs, you can go here and you have the examples. And you can we have a Python SDK, JavaScript SDK, and Car SDK. As you can see here, you have all the results. And here we have the dashboard with the homepage with all the usage and the job status where you can filter. So basically, this is a dev tool, but you can use it as a browser, even if you don't know how to scrape and how to code. Another example could be like extracting videos from YouTube. Now, for example, if you want to extract the video names, I can just go here and run the script.
Okay, yeah, now it's finished.
And now we can see all the video names in the results. And if we want, we can download the file and have the JSON or the CSV as a response. Here we have the response with the data, and this is the SaaS platform. This is what we have done in this month and a half, basically.
Yeah, very cool. Which LLM do you use on this platform behind the scenes?
We have like more LLMs in order to be compliant and always available. So, and we use LLMs, for example, one for chunking, one for merging the results. So it's a mixture of LLMs, and the most used are like Llama 3.2 in Grok, Mistral Mini, and Mixtral. These are the three most used inside our platform. We use Supabase for the authentication and AWS for using internal requests and Lambdas, and also Render we use. Everything is on cloud, basically.
You have like two other options, right? Besides of the smart scraper. The smart scraper is like
Yeah.
the main product or the main like feature. And then you have this search scraper and a Markdownify.
Let's start with Markdownify. That is a service where, given a URL, it returns you the Markdown file. So basically I can add here, have the markdown as a response. The last product and endpoint that we added is like a search scraper that given a query, it will return a structured output. So I can write me the last 3 presidents of US, and I can run it.
It's searching the web and then returning you JSON with the result. And really quick.
As you can see here, it finds all the sources and intenters. So basically, it scrapes free websites. This is my favorite endpoint right now, but the most used is Smart Scraper.
Now that we've heard about the dashboard and what you can do basically on a high level with ScrapeGraphAI, I already took a look at their API, and I just want to show you two examples. One very simple example, how you could use the API, and then another example using the library and a bit more like of customization. I'm now here in Cursor or in my code editor, and I created a Python environment. I already set my environment variables. So what we need now is like the ScrapeGraph AI API key, and also an API key for the LLM that we want to use for the second example. Over to the dashboard that we've just seen, you can find your API key here, and you can just copy it and then paste it in your .env file. First of all, we will import the packages that we want to use. So in this case, we import the client, and we also import a logger so that we will see what's going on behind the scenes. And we already get like a recommendation here, which is, I think, correct. And here we initialize the client. So in case you're not using an environment variable, you can also pass the API key right here in the client. And next we define the response. Here we call the smart scraper function, which will gets the website URL that we want to scrape and basically the prompt. So in this case, let's scrape Amazon. So we want to extract the names and prices of all the keyboards. And that's basically it. Print the results here. Last but not least, we close the connection. I think that's about it. And if we run this now, it should work and give us the results. So now we got like kind of a JSON format back with the results. So what we can do, for example, head over to a JSON viewer and we paste it here and click on format. And now we see it in a more readable format that we got a lot of results here. Really cool.
You can also go to the dashboard and looking for your result if you want.
Okay, perfect. So if I go head over to jobs, job status. Okay. And here I see the results. Cool. And I can just download as JSON or as CSV file. Another example is using the library, which gives you more control and insights into the scraping process. You can find this under scrapegraph-ai.readthedocs.io. You just Google for it, and here you can find the install command for this library. And if we import these packages, we will also need to import the .env package because we need to import or load the environment variable for our LLM that we want to use. Then what we basically do is initializing a smart scraper graph, and this also takes the prompts, takes the source again, and custom configuration. And in this configuration, we can define like a few parameters, for example, the LLM we want to use. And in this case, I will just use the GPT-4o mini model. And here we can set a few more parameters. At the end, we can print the log here. Pick a different example now. Instead of using Amazon again, I will use wired.com. This is a news website, and I will say, give me all the news. And again, we run this with Python, and you see it's opening up the browser window for a few seconds and then executing the prompt. Okay, this also worked really, really well. We got the title and the link to the news. So in that case, you can get different results because we didn't really specify which fields we want to get. We just said, give me all the news. But I think that's clear. Now I would be really interested in the limitations of ScrapeGraph AI. Obviously, there are some websites that are really difficult to scrape, that are actively blocking bot-like behavior, or websites that have a lot of JavaScript. How do you handle these cases with ScrapeGraph AI?
We don't actually support like a proxy rotation, anti-bot, and anti-Cloudflare because very difficult to implement it in an open source code base because you have to add a lot of extra paid services. So we decided to do not implement it. Instead of the API and the paid version, we use instead of using our Playwright, we use a external service that handle these kind of problems like JavaScript rendering and anti-bot policies. We use an external services basically for handling this problem.
Okay, so if you're not that much into coding and you just want to extract some data, you could use the API, and this way you have most of the anti-blocking features already set up for you, integrated. And in case you are a developer, you could set this up yourself. If you use the library, you need to set up the proxy rotation and whatever yourself, and sign up for some of these other paid services. In the AI space, a lot of people use automation platforms like make.com, N8N. Make.com is really popular right now. In this case, you can just use the API, right? You can just add an API call in make.com and use the official API and just add this to your automation workflow, which is really cool.
Regarding this kind of automation platform, we are trying to be in more as possible. So we have like the integration with Langflow. We are releasing our first template for Langflow in the next days, but in the future we will also add Zapier, for example, or Nnet 8.
Okay, really cool. So
We will.
so you're working on like an official integration with these platforms where you can just find this tool and just with one click add the scraper to your workflow. I think right now you need to do this manually, but it's also not super hard. I think just use ChatGPT and maybe paste the API documentation in your prompt, and then it's writing you a guide how to set this up.
Most of these kind of product have like the Carla implementation, so you
Okay.
have to use that.
What are the rate limits of the API at the moment? Because I know
Uh,
other tools
up
they have
to
some limits.
Yeah, it's up to the billing account. For example, with the $20 count, you have 30 requests per minute. With the growth, that is a plan, you have 60, and with the pro, 200 requests per minute.
If you use the library and you set up your own LLM, for example, you don't have these limits, right?
The limitation are up to the LLM provider, so it's not
Yeah,
up to us.
yeah.
So it depends by the billing account that you have inside your LLM provider.
In case you want to really scale it, you could host your own LLM, like I don't know, Mistral or Llama,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
maybe
just
with
do it.
Olamo.
You have like integrations with Llama Index, with LangChain, right, and Crew AI.
Yeah, for the API, yes. We have an integration for Llama Index, Crew AI, and Chain.
Do you have any other features in the pipeline, kind of a roadmap, besides of the integration with make.com and Zapier and N8N?
We will release in the next days another endpoint that you can insert multiple links and just one prompt. You can merge all the results at the end. So you can remove duplicates and have a better output. And we will release in the next days. We are working on it.
Yeah, pretty cool. Where do you see AI scraping like this year and maybe in the coming years with all these new advancements in AI and the new releases?
I see my company in the future, not just for scraping, but for I will see ScrapeGraph as a tool for gaining knowledge for agents and reasoning models, basically. Because even if you have AGI, you will not have for sure all the knowledge about the world. So you will need an extra tool for extracting the data for gaining the knowledge to the agent.
Probably heard of OpenAI, like Operator. They launched it in the US and some countries already. And it's kind of an agent that's scraping websites and performing like jobs for you, like I don't know, booking a flight for you or buying groceries for you. Do you think that these kind of tools are replacing scraping, or where do you see like the differences between these operator agents and web scraping tools?
I haven't tried it yet, but for my experience, even with, if I remember correctly, Claude, these kind of big companies, for legal problems, are not allowed to scrape each website they want. So we have it. They have a kind of limitation about that. And I think that in the future, OpenAI will directly create a kind of direct API with the providers. So instead of going to booking.com, it will have, I think, a kind of APIs for directly connecting to booking appointment or something like that. I will consider as a kind of advertisement and direct advertisement in us because they cannot do anything. We don't have that kind of legal limitations.
Yeah, I get it. I think they're already partnering with some platforms, like you said, booking.com. So to make sure that their product is working really well on these specific websites. But you probably have like a lot of limitations. You can't really scrape anything you want, like Amazon, YouTube, or whatever. It might be that they have some legal issues and they can't really offer this to the masses. So in this case, you can go and use ScrapeGraph AI, for example, and you can do whatever you want with this. You have just much more control over it. And I think also regarding the speed, I've seen like some of the demos of the operator and also of I tried like Claude computer use myself, and they are pretty slow actually. I mean, they're taking screenshots and then processing the next step, then they click something and then you need to wait again. My last really question and point is you also launched an enterprise version. So besides of the open source, you have like the API for regular users, and then you also have like an enterprise version, right? Can you tell
Yeah.
us something about
The
that?
enterprise version is a platform where you can scrape not just one website, but more website in a hierarchical way. If you have one link inside a website, you have more outer link. And if you, in this way, with our product, you will extract information till like 50 websites directly inside that link. And it is very useful for M&A because they have to as more information as possible about a company and they will save a lot of time.
Okay, so it's just basically crawling. So you have a start
Yeah.
URL and then it's looking for other internal URLs or links and then scraping these pages next and so on.
Yeah.
That's about it. I don't have any more questions. Do you have any closing thought you want to give to our viewers?
Yeah, I think that the ScrapeGraph will make data accessible to everyone, not just for engineers or developers.
Okay, cool. It's changing the way we collect data and we can build much better data pipelines with that right now. And it's probably getting even better and better over the coming months and years. Yeah, really looking forward to the progress of your product. I've seen you also launched on Product Hunt, right? So we will link all of the information in the description. Check it out if you like.
Okay, see you
Okay.
guys.
Thanks, Marco. Bye.